Okay. Today in our live interview with Surviving Being a Preacher's Kid, we're interviewing Christina Crudup. She's an amazing woman. She's 39 years old, 4 children, and a 2-year-old grandson. She works as a writer and a community support organizer. And Christina is actually a second generation preacher's kid. So her mom is a preacher's kid. So she got a double whammy. So she's got definitely a lot of knowledge on this subject. And so I'm sure most of you saw my title, Married to a Monster. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit with Christina. But first we're gonna, ask her a few background questions, and then we'll dive right into it. And as you guys know, my podcast focuses on the experience of a preacher's kid, the behavior of a preacher's kid, and the journey of a preacher's kid. So today we're going to tackle the experience with Miss Christina. Okay? So everybody say hi to Miss Christina. Hi, Miss Christina. Isn't she beautiful? Look at her. Oh my God. Okay. So, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself a little bit better than I did, or did
I
you
think
like
you did a great job.
You think I did a great job?
Yes,
Thank you. I'm not a Steve Harvey or anything,
Not
but,
yet.
Not yet. But so I want to ask you, the million dollar question, because I know a lot of us PKs, we tend to go into to the same thing that our parents are doing. Most of us do. And that's what every preacher and pastor will want for their children, to follow in their footsteps. So, Miss Christina, the million dollar question, what are you doing now in ministry, or are you in ministry at all? What is your relationship with God?
My relationship with God is I think I guess everybody would feel that way, but I feel like I have a unique relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And so God to me is not just behind a structure. So God is my best friend. He's not my husband and nothing like that, but he is my father, so he is whom I respect, and so my relationship with God is amazing. We have a relationship that means we talk all the time. Yeah. We cry together. We laugh together. We struggle together. I'm mad at him. He mad at me.
Right.
So
right.
It's amazing. But I believe that ministry is in my blood, and so being raised as I was raised, I know that I have an anointing over my life. I know I have a prophetic anointing and all that stuff, so when I wake up in the morning, life is ministry. So anybody who I encounter, it's not like I just be sitting there preaching the news on the corner about, Jesus saves, but I try to let my life be as a ministry. Now I don't, I'll fall short, but it is my goal every day. Right. I strive for it. So ministry is a lifestyle. It's really not an operation. But I go to church, when we can. But God speaks to me in my bathroom, or in my car, and we go to service. So operating in a title, I do not.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Do you have a leadership role in the church that you attend? Okay. Okay.
So I have a role, but it just ain't
in leadership. Right.
Yep.
Got it.
When I play my role by sitting in them seats and try to pay my offering and tithes and when I can and stuff. So I do my part.
Right. And that's what we all need. That's what he wants from us to do, just do our part.
Right.
Live in our purpose. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how you were raised and what denomination was the church that you grew up in?
I grew up if I know my sister, my mother see this, so I hope I'm correct. But to my understanding, I believe I grew up like Kojic Pentecostal.
Okay.
Church of God in Christ. Oh yes. which I love me some Church and God in Christ.
Listen, okay. We weren't
You know,
coaching, but those people, I love them. I love
yeah.
to see them praise the
The church
Lord.
I grew up in when I think in Harvey, I think it was called Church of God in Christ. I might be mistaken, but overall, it is Church and God in Christ.
Okay,
Pentecostal a little bit, but yeah,
okay,
I grew up that way.
okay, okay. So, what was life like you when you were young? What was life like for you when you were younger?
Um, life was just I always struggled, just
Mm,
even as me just being Christina. I
okay,
think God sometimes I just struggled. I put on the life to struggle at an early age. So I was sick. So I had a disease when I was younger. So I think it's called like malabsorption or whatever. So I was a sickly kid.
okay,
Um, but as far as like in the church home world, um, I I have my good and bad and ugly, but I think I have a balance here and there. Sometimes it was great, sometimes it was horrific. It
mm,
just kind of wavered back and forth. But with the mother I had, I can't really say like I had a terrible, terrible, terrible life. My mom made
okay,
sure she created happy memories with us,
okay,
and so that eases a lot. But it was not easy
okay.
growing up.
So, with you being sickly, that was going to be my next question about discipline. How were you disciplined? So, you being sickly, you probably didn't get a lot of spankings, or or discipline. Or you say never? No, I did.
Yeah, I was that kid.
Oh Lord.
My mom parented me. I think my mom parented me out of guilt a lot, growing up, and so I think I was favored a little bit because I was sickly and because of the stuff I went through in my life. I think my mom and even my siblings kind of, really all of my family kind of pity patted me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But I was the destroyer. I
Wow.
was terrible. But
Really?
I was. I was. I told my I look at my mom all the time and being like, I'm just so
So
sorry.
sorry.
You know.
Right.
Yeah, and so it just, as far as that, not diving into some of the other questions, it was just
Right.
it was a lot.
I get you. I get you. Okay. So uh we always ask all of us PKs, we ask that question. Uh when did you get saved, or when did you receive salvation? Was it on your own, or was it pushed on you? Like that my mama used just go up to that altar, little girl. Was it like that for you?
It's just like I know we all can just sit around and joke around like
Right, right.
I just, we went through that different thing, the Tarian service, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you,
Yep.
Jesus,
Uh-huh.
speaking tongues. And, I really didn't understand that whole concept until I got older. So I was just the rebellious one. Like my
Oh wow.
sister, she did it. My sister, she used to get popped in her face if she did, you know what I mean? Like it just was bad.
Okay.
It just was bad with that trying to, get saved and all different stuff. So I think my concept of what I believe that is,
Okay.
like when I find Christ, I don't believe in something like that. God created me, so he already found me. So he knew me. I just didn't really know him yet. You know
That
what
I
I
like
mean?
that.
And so
I
it just
like
like our
that.
relationship really big, but he was part of the family.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Exactly. That's amazing. I like that. I like that. He already knew you. I like that.
Yeah, and so it just like when I got saved, I think I mean, I guess it had to happen at a younger. My mom would probably tell you. I don't know, like the traditional, moment, but I know we
Okay.
did that. Like getting saved, asking, God, to come into your life. As far as I can remember, I think my mom made it everybody when she gave us birth to give us to
Right.
salvation.
Right. When
It
we
was both.
when we had the christening. Right. Because I used to say
When
that
we
about
came
my
out the
kids.
womb, she up there
Yeah.
raising our hands. Who you
Yep.
accept Christ? I'm like, I don't know. I think so.
I think so.
So
Right.
yeah, so I think I think like at an early age, as far as I can remember, all I remember is church. So I really can't even pinpoint
The
um,
day.
that stuff. My early years, I didn't. God was not who He is to me today. So
Okay. So, okay, so with that then, so you saying you don't remember a lot of stuff. Did you ever notice a difference? Because your mom was the pastor, right?
My
When you were younger?
okay, so my grandfather was a preacher, was a
Okay.
pastor,
Okay, so your
and
granddad was a pastor.
my grandfather, my mother's dad.
Okay.
Anything that go further than that, I would probably have to ask my mom some of these questions too. But from what I know, even on both sides of the family. On my dad's side, not far as like pastors, but very heavy in church. My uncle Ralph and my uncle Durham, on my dad's
Okay.
side too. So we just smacked in the middle.
Okay.
But
So did you notice a difference in how you guys were treated versus everybody else? Did it seem like you guys were uh, favored, perhaps, or did you get treated worse because you was the pastor's kids and granddaddy was
well,
was the
because my
pastor?
mother was a pastor like one of the pastors that preached and ministered, so
Mm-hmm.
she was part of the pastoral staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like over a church, no. My mother never was the like head pastor over the entire over church, no,
Okay.
like that, no. But very high in the
Like one of the
ministry.
assistant pastors or a youth pastor, something like that.
Well, my sister was a youth pastor.
Okay.
I don't know how, because as far as like when I started getting back into church, we was in non-denominational, and
Yeah.
so I just think the structure of that's so different than Kojic.
Okay.
But my mom
Okay.
probably will have more so that experience of my grandfather being, sitting up there on the pulpit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't experience that. We experienced it with my grandfather, and then more so with my sister on this end. So I'm like more, you know what I'm saying, in the middle part of it. And so I
Okay.
don't think that because of how we was raised a little bit, that we really didn't get. I mean, if I start to pinpoint different stuff, I don't. Other people might feel a different type of way.
Okay. So
You know
you
what I'm
just
saying?
probably didn't notice it. Okay.
I probably didn't notice it or did not care.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? I don't
That's
want to sit in
fair.
the front of the church, so I did it.
That's
That
fair.
was me. You
That's
know what I
fair.
mean?
Okay.
My sister was the obedient one. She did what she was supposed to do.
Right, right.
So I just was
Okay.
like, this is not for me. So I didn't like that. I never liked being in the forefront because that, too much required, much is given. So that means
Yeah.
that we was the first ones there and the last ones there. So I didn't special treatment. I don't want special treatment. I want to go
Right.
home like the rest of the congregation, but we're still there, laying on the floor, taking naps. The
Man,
church never ends.
never ended. It
So
never
I think
ended.
special treatment is just like they can have it. If
Okay.
that means staying at church all day, I don't want it.
Right, right, right. So
Yeah.
so you didn't have a role in the church when you were younger because you say you were the rebellious one.
I was so because my relationship with God came later in my life. Early
Okay.
years, I wasn't. I would leave, go walk to the store, and go get some
Wow,
ice cream.
really?
Yeah, I just, I didn't. I wasn't into it because it just was just too much pressure. Because we had it at like my mom. I I know my mom used to do Bible study at home.
Right.
That was a
Mm-hmm.
part of, my mom like wrote down, we learned the scriptures from A to Z in alphabetical order.
Right.
We learned the history of, vacation Bible school
Right,
and
right.
all the different stuff. So it was church all day,
All day. I
all
know.
summer,
All
all,
summer,
you know what
never
I
a
mean?
break.
So just like, Jesus was drilled so much into it that I was not interested in him at all.
Right. Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Like,
I
who
get
is
it.
this man that is taking over my life that I do not like?
Wow.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So that's to me how God was introduced to me. I was like, I don't want that.
Wow.
I don't want
Uh,
that.
yeah.
Because what comes along with it, with
Was
trauma
a
and
was
spiritual abuse, I didn't want to serve a God that would allow stuff to happen like that. So that was my mindset growing up. I
wow.
didn't like him at all.
Gosh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's yeah. I could see that. I could see, you know, because I'm going back to thinking when I was a kid, like uh you might get angry with him, like, man, I'm here all the time, and and we just Jesus. Who is this Jesus person that you know what I'm saying? That wants to like take over everything. I can't play. I can't play hopscotch. I can't play
Right.
double dutch.
But also then home is just terrible. So
Yeah,
these are the same people who you serve, and I'm I'm stuck at home. Home life was terrible at points in my life. Horrific. You
right.
know what I mean? So then
Wow.
you want me to go to church and praise this God that
Yeah, I
supposed to
get it.
do.
Wonders and so wonderful and love. Yeah,
So it wasn't real. All the stuff they preached about miracles and moving mountains. What? I
right,
can't even. I gotta hide in my closet. What are you talking about? You know
right.
what I'm saying? Move
Yeah.
mountains. I just want you to move this human. You can't do that for me.
Wow.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so God back in that day
Hmm.
was like, oh, okay, this is just another thing that we Americans do. We find something, we obsess over it, and this is what it is. So
Wow.
yeah.
I completely, yeah. Okay, so um do you feel like your parents took care of others and their needs over the kids, over you guys? Were they paying more attention to folks at church and their what they needed versus what you guys needed?
I think like I mean if you look at it, it's not okay. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But when if you look at it
absolutely.
like back then, it's just you didn't see it as that. You just kind of just see it like we my mom, would take on people
Yeah.
and in the house and
Hmm.
because it's the need, and so it just is looking at really what is it truly. You know what I mean? Is my
Yeah.
mom operating off of just having a open heart or just there? My mom loves the underdog. My mom doesn't like seeing people struggling or suffering. And
Right.
so, we have more siblings and more family members
Right.
that we have had in our home, but that has also, so it just like, I don't think that the intent was to do that, but the
Right.
result was
But
damaging. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? And so if you
Mhm.
if you would say it, I would have to say yes. Many people, many time,
Mhm.
more time than what's going on in the home. And so in that aspect like that, but as far as like mistreating other people to make us be better because we're PK kid, I did not experience that.
Okay. Well, no, I didn't mean it like that. You get mistreated. Like I'm gonna mistreat you so I can show them something. But
Mm-hmm.
it was just the way you explained it.
Mm-hmm.
Were their needs sometimes placed over your needs because they wanted to take care of them and because in their head this is ministry and I
It's energy.
gotta I gotta do what God wants me to do.
Right.
And they forget that the kids are their ministry too. My children are my ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I was my mom's ministry before she was a minister, but they used to get the roles reversed. They get the roles reversed. So, that's when all the other stuff starts to kind of happening.
Right.
So I don't think, I never think the stuff is done intentional,
Right. It
but
doesn't, I don't think it starts off like
it
that, but
doesn't start off like that. Yeah. But then
that
you lose sight
yeah, and then
after a
I think that
while.
you don't really see until people
Hmm.
get older and start learn like that's not really okay to do.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think what you do, but you need to find a better a better resource for that person instead of bringing a total stranger
Right.
into your home with children, not knowing how it will affect them. You know, long
Oh my
run.
God. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it.
We are, Larry.
Yeah, bringing folks in because I feel bad for them.
Mhm.
And
Knowing we can't
having,
afford it, knowing we
yeah,
really can't
yep,
have another house, so you're really struggling, but you feel
uh-huh,
like, well, I'm doing a good deed because God, where's God? Who? No,
yep,
no,
yep.
no, no.
Because
I
we
think
have to,
it's
yeah,
to
we
learn
have
how
to
to give
use,
better responses.
yeah, we have to use some discernment with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have to use some discernment with that.
Yeah,
So, like I said, I'm guilty of it myself. I know I am. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, so your parents, did they behave one way at home and then one way at church? Did you notice that?
Well, parents. My parents divorced when I was 11, no, we moved to Minnesota when I was 9 in 1989. And so my parents divorced. And so, but my mom was married 7 times,
Okay.
so parents, sis. And my mom would speak her truth too. So she would tell
Right.
her testimony. She talks about
Right.
these all the time. But she was married 7 times. So we had a whole lot of different discipline techniques, abuse,
Mm.
what I mean? All kind of, different stuff. So we had so many different transitions in that with other
Okay.
preachers that she married, who was in the
Okay.
pulpit, who did sit in the pulpit. So then we experienced that for a short time with being married to a head, a person who was over a church, being a first lady, my mom, in
Okay.
our, with stuff like that. So we did experience that later on with one of her husbands, and then
Okay.
experience, that in a different way with another one of her husbands. And
Okay.
so we got the different triangle of it, but they were all toxic.
Wow. You answered my next question. How did you see your parents? Did you think they were kind of brainwashed to ministry, or did you think they thought for themselves? Um,
I think because of the different churches that we went to, we went to a couple different churches, not a whole lot. So just kind of cross denominations at a point in time. And
mhm.
I think one of the churches we went to was a cult.
Yep,
Uh,
a lot of them out there.
hmm
Mhm.
so I just it just was different. So I never really see parents. Only parents I see now is the one that my mom is married to right now. So it's always just her. So even when
Okay.
she was married, I didn't see nobody as a father figure to do that. So it just was whatever she said,
Okay.
what
Okay.
she did. But she will adapt to whoever she's married to.
Okay. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, my
Okay.
mom, my mom, she loves the sense, her parents was married her whole life until death. So that's all she's knew. And, it was drilled into her that, to be married is better to wed,
Right.
you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so instead of just having
Burn. Yep.
relationships, she married. That's why she was married so often.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's a whole concept is just, you know, like, twisted.
She sounds like she was a little radical.
My mom is very radical. And that's why I say not so much brainwashed, but manipulated.
Okay.
If I could use that word a little better, I think
Mhm.
they on the same kind of fence.
Yeah.
But I think it was just more so manipulation.
Okay.
Um, and what in believing some different things or just moving with the herd so much like that.
Okay.
But my mom has always been radical. Anywhere my mom and my sister, or just even my family separate, we're always going to be prominent because we just have a charismatic about us. And so even
Mhm.
if it's another head, whatever, we always our family always get kind of zeroed in. But it just she's a little radical, but she's also my mom loves God.
Right.
Everything in her. I always say, like, you please pray this prayer for me because you and Jesus are best friends. He'll hear me. He'll hear you
Right.
before he hear me, mom.
Right.
Because
Right.
my mom, even though a lot of stuff happened, like she's a good girl and she always strives to do that.
Okay.
So it just like that's why I say kind of manipulation, but she is a little radical, of course, because she birthed this one. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can't birth
Okay.
people like me and not be
And
radical.
not be a little radical. Okay.
But you guys will meet my mom because I know you're gonna do an interview with her, and so you guys
Absolutely.
will be able to hear, her story, and so
Absolutely.
she'll be able to tell you a whole different light or kind of connecting some of my dots that we say. But so she is radical, but she's very timid as well when it comes to God. And
Okay.
so just like if she just been drilled so long about, what is true for her truth, she still learned God as she got older.
Right.
And so like she just wanted to please him. And so
Yes.
if marrying a
Yes.
man who is not fit for her, but because they're together, she's gonna marry him. And then
Okay.
so that's just like it's more so like manipulation versus like being brainwashed, but I know they go hand in hand.
Right. Yeah, they do actually. They do. Um, so did you ever experience or witness any physical abuse
Yes.
in church or in home or both?
Um I never seen any physical abuse at home at church,
Okay.
but I did experience it at home with myself, and then my mom was physically abused by
Okay.
one of her husbands who was a pastor.
Okay. And he was a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things he would do?
She didn't stay with him really long,
Mm-hmm.
from what I can remember.
Okay.
But I know that I know with me, he only hit me one time, but he kicked me in my stomach into the closet, and I was really little before I had kids. But my mom, she was, hurt bad. You
He
know,
kicked you in the stomach.
Mhm.
Whew.
It was worse for my mom, though.
It was worse for your mother.
Yeah,
Wow. And that's still trauma when you witness
yeah,
trauma, you witness abuse. That's still traumatic on a child.
yeah,
Um, wow.
yeah.
Uh, and did he have a reason why he was just one of those? I'm just gonna do it just because.
And the sad thing to say this, and I know that my memory is, I got a great memory, but
Mm-hmm.
like with stuff with, because she's been married so many times and she has so many horrible husbands, I intertwine.
Right. Okay.
And so I know, I remember, I think I remember his name, but I remember his face or whatever. So I can't, I know he was a pastor, or he might not. So sometimes it intertwine. Literally, I'd
I
be like,
feel you.
which dad was this? Which situation was this?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I know that we her have to minister looking like that.
Wow.
Just even at point when she had to run and take us, and we had to stay with somebody else because of it.
And nobody said anything when she came to church with black eyes. Nobody. Was that the culture of the particular church,
The
or?
church, no, not at all. We Pastor Moore was the pastor, and he the one who let us open up his home to us
Okay.
after that.
Let
So
us run
it,
there.
it wasn't treated as if it was nothing.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
no, and that's why I said, like, we got a lot of bad. Um, I be trying not to say bad things, but it's like we it was, how I said, like, the waiver, good and bad, whatever. It
Right.
was bad, but some things we didn't experience, but because of the way my mom was. But because of the way my mom was, we experienced a lot
Mhm.
of different things on that side too.
Okay.
So it wasn't okay for that to happen, and so that was read really, directly and stuff. So
Okay. Well, that was good. That
mhm.
was good.
I
So,
mean, a lot of other things could have, happened, but as far as, like, there was bicker in the background. You
mhm.
know what I mean, with different stuff. But that whole church was crazy at that point. Not his
Okay.
current church he has now, but back in when he pastored over another church. So
Okay.
it's just a lot of different things that I think could have happened differently, or maybe even someone talked to my mom about healing and what is okay, and the men that she's choosing, she needs to be healed. You know what I mean? But nothing like
Right.
that. But as far as, like, helping us out, making sure we was good, yes.
They did
But
that.
the other
Okay.
side, no.
Right. Which you
Because
need. You need the other
because
side.
then she got married again to somebody else who wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
crackhead. You know what I'm saying? So we went through that, that whole thing. Like, I mean,
Wow.
watching videotapes, police call, we're watching police videos, and we're flyering, the church is helping us flyer the neighborhood for my crackhead, stepfather. And so it's just like, the church was behind us, but you're behind us. Why? Why is somebody not sitting and talking to my mother about, you need, baby,
The
you need
choices you're
to talk.
making.
Now she, like I said, she can talk about it.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
so so I'm not bashing,
Right. No. No. No.
but it's
Absolutely
just
not.
like, if somebody would have pulled her to the side and just like, hey, let me just tell you how you're
Right.
walking forward backwards.
Right.
you're
Right.
you're moving, you're going in a direction backwards.
And that's part of ministry too. If you see me doing something, you know, help me, talk to me about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't, if you see me making these bad choices, you know, that's a part of ministry. Let's do an intervention, as they call them now, you know, in
Yeah,
these
and I call it
situations.
with stuff like that. I call it, and I'm a stickler for this. I'm gonna give me a T-shirt. I'm a stickler. It's we as humans, and even as believers, because I don't call myself a Christian. I call myself a believer. I don't do no denomination stuff like that. But we have a tendency, Christians, of doing the right things wrong.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying? And so it's like we always had it was bad experiences, like terrible, but it was also a lot of great experience. I met a lot of great people. I'm talking about aunties that's not biological, who
right,
she will cry if somebody, if you tell her that
mm,
we not blood related. You
right,
know what I mean? I would have never met her and not going through these terrible, like,
right,
spiritual abuse, but it's still terrible. But we meet a lot of good, solid people
right, right.
that will is the
Absolutely.
reason why we're like we are today.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? But you get these people who is intent to do good. They're not really seeking out. Some do are
some
predators.
do. Oh, for
Yes,
sure,
for
for
sure.
sure.
But there is some who literally has God's heart,
Right,
but really don't have any understanding of God's heart. And so you're just really moving and not really understanding why you're moving.
right,
And so I think like it would have saved her so much, 6 marriages back,
right,
you know, to meet the great man, even that, she's married to today, but to just be like, baby, sit down.
right.
Don't date, don't
Don't
talk,
do, don't, right.
do
Just take a
this.
break.
You need to heal. You need to talk to somebody about some healing. You need to come to some conclusions. You know what I mean? In that way, helping, you don't need to help me by buying me groceries when I'm about to get evicted next month. You know what I mean? I
Right.
don't need food.
I don't need food. I need
I
to
need
show
shelter.
me a way how not to be getting evicted.
But getting food is not wrong.
Right, right.
You see what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And
Yeah.
so it's like, well, I did a good deed because I gave them food. Well, yeah, they can eat. Homeless.
Right. In the car.
That's not the need. Do the need, even if the need is not gonna fulfill all the needs, but just give me with the need that I need.
Right, right.
Instead of the bickering, ooh, she needs to leave that man. Nah, 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 nah. Sister
Hmm.
Mary Joe Sally in the background
Right, right.
talking, but not really saying, baby, come here, let me just hold you.
Let me hold you. Right,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. Let me walk you through this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure out how we can walk through it.
Right.
Yeah.
I might not know what to say, but let's just
I'm
walk in silence.
here. Or I'm here. I'm
I mean,
here to talk it through. We figure it out together. I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. Let's figure it out together.
and I think like if people really get the concept of that, Lisa, our PK troubles will be over.
I think so too, which is
If
why
people just
I'm
feel like
trying to
I'm here,
create this
I don't
platform.
have the answers. I don't know the mind of God. So I'm not going to tell you do this or you're going to go to hell. Really? Who told you that?
Right.
Did God tell you himself? Instead of doing this stuff out of fear and then put God tag on it, then
Mm-hmm.
make it okay. That's
Right.
how you leave room for people to abuse it. And then you get these monsters that's in the
Yes.
pulpit, these devils that's in the pulpit,
Oh yeah.
spiritually abusing people without even touching them, physically touching them,
Right.
spiritually destroying them. You know
Destroying
what I mean?
them. Yes. Yes. So true.
Yeah.
Girl, you in the vein already right now.
Right. It's just like you just start to like think about stuff because it's just like my life wasn't easy at all. Like, suicidal and being in the psych ward, mental, and from trauma from people who love God.
Okay, so then let's go there then now. The Christina's experience. Did you ever experience any, well, you said you experienced some physical abuse. Um, did you experience any sexual abuse?
I did. I my trails of tears were heavy. I experienced sexual abuse um at an early age and then throughout different times in my life. You know what I mean? Some were people, whoever, but some were people who that most one was with the one of my mother's husbands, who was
Okay.
a prominent man in the community, a prominent man in the community. You know what I mean? And then so it's just like It's terrible.
Right, right.
With him being had his own church. Now that was when she was a first lady.
Okay.
I was I wasn't I was legally an adult,
Oh, you were legally an adult.
but I wasn't um mentally or emotionally an adult. But when that happened, I had kids and everything. So it was a physical,
Oh,
sexual experience. It was very, very, very tough. You know.
was it? So you say experience. So you were an adult with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
So I was attacked.
Oh, so so it was it was an aggressive
Mm-hmm.
attack.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't even in the home. I was actually working from him because he was a pastor. He had his own church, working for him, just helping out what we do, helping out,
Right.
as the secretary of these little minister roles, you know,
Right.
helping out doing stuff. And so, I was there and yeah, like attacked by my stepfather. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how did that? I'm not going to ask for details, but how after the attack, like um, what did you do? Did you tell somebody right away? It happened inside the church.
It happened in the church office, which was in my mother's
Inside.
house.
Oh, okay. So y'all had services outside the house.
You had service outside the house, but ran the church inside the house.
Inside the house. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it was in his office. Okay. So did you right away tell your mom, or did you call the police, or how
I
did
think
you?
so. Timeline, I can't remember, but I know it was within that frame because I ran um, to a friend's house barefoot. Ran it from one. Um, I live in Minneapolis, and so my mother's house was where I was raised at. So I went to a friend's house across, like on Plymouth. So like I don't know the distance, but I can't remember how I got there because it seems like when I blinked, I was there because I just ran.
Right, right, right.
And that was just it. And then I called my sister and then called my mom, and she was out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did she handle that situation?
I was in that with that with that situation. It was happened at such a difficult time in my life when that happened.
Mm,
I have had experiences like that of being raped before
before.
and then, left, for trash. I was found in trash. You know what I mean? So that was things. So then just compared to, you know what I mean? So my life has been full of trauma,
Okay.
on spiritual things versus, both sides. So, with that, I didn't really, because she was out of town, I didn't really know what her initial thing was or how stuff. I didn't even understand. Like I said, I was out. I was outside the house, but I was, young. I think I was 19 or 8 or
Okay.
20 around that thing. I know just what my, what kid I had to gauge how old I was.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, and so it's just like I think I just found my place or just however. But uh, at first I thought that she did not believe me. You
Okay.
know, And so when
Okay.
that's because she was out of town, so I had to wait till she get here. So I'm thinking, she thinking, you know what I mean? So I just didn't know, really what to do at that time. I know it was addressed, I think he was put out the home. I know I still saw him until, he eventually died.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so for a long time, I did not like my I had a problem with my mom because I still saw him. So I thought that she chose him over me. So I was with guilt for that for a long time.
Okay. But in hindsight, she didn't, right?
I know
Or
that she did it, and we had some, different, some conversations. We went to counseling together. It's like she walked with me with that journey.
mhm.
So we did try to do some counseling and stuff together, but it was just like, for me, I didn't kind of understand how she felt until I got a little older, and then my experience with God changed as well too. So I understood more,
Okay.
but it kind of hindered our relationship for a little bit,
A little
not
bit
really
because
understanding.
it seemed But you say he did get put out though, right? But you just kept
Yes,
smiling.
understand, because it was just a different, because even though he was a monster,
Right.
but
Jesus.
he was a great man. He was one of our best fathers.
Really?
Yeah,
Could you
pastor
could
of.
you go into that a little bit then? Because, you know,
It's crazy, isn't it?
with monsters,
And I can
right.
say that seriously. I can. And that's the truth of it is that's literally the truth. I can't take away from that. And so that whole thing devastated our family with my mother because she was happy. You
Wow.
know, she's happy now that she's married to this awesome man she's married to now. But my mom never been happy like that. She was happy. And
She
so I carried a lot of guilt to feel
right,
like
of course.
I destroyed that. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a good man. We learned a whole lot of different things. Um, you know, he was, like I said, he was really prominent in the community, like to the point, like our community centers in North Minneapolis is at the Urban League thing that his picture hung on the wall. And I
Wow.
had to kind of commission to the thing for them to take that picture down, even though that he did something, you know, like he was a great man. I still didn't want to see his face.
Of course not.
You know
Of
what I
course
mean?
not. You
But
shouldn't
I'm
have to
not gonna
see
say, oh,
your
he just was this and tarnish all the good things he did. He was sick and he has some issues going, you know, within him
absolutely
that didn't heal, and that's why offenders offend.
offend other
It's
people.
not, you
Exactly.
know. And so
Right.
I'm not sugarcoating or nothing, but that's just the truth of the matter is. He was. We learned a lot of different stuff. He was very great to talk to
Mhm.
about different things, with relationship advice and different things. So the fact that he did that to me, it changed me
Of course.
badly. It changed
Of
me.
course.
It devastated me.
Of course.
Even though me and my father have a great relationship, I love my daddy, my biological. I love my daddy.
Biological. Okay.
I love him. So, and he knows. So there's like, oh, the greater man, no, but um, that stepfather, that still bothers me.
Right.
Even in me being 39, that happened, you know, so long ago.
Right.
You know, and then he ended up dying, and then you know, I almost kind of felt bad that I wanted to talk to him.
To get some type of closure or to ask why, or did you
What was
ever ask
going?
why? Did you ever?
I don't. I don't know if asking a predator why they do something, it's an instinct that comes. They don't even know
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what predators. It's an instinct that happens with a predator, and they catch the prey. They're built for it almost. And
Jesus.
so something either festered, manifested, however, you know, and a lot of things came out after he died with me coming out saying this is, you know, he did this stuff. So he abused before.
I was about to say that he other stuff come out and he did it to other
He
people.
did. And
Of
it just
course.
was really sad to be like, you just don't, you never know.
Right.
Because
No, you don't.
he wasn't abusive to my mother. He didn't talk down on her. He didn't make her
Wow.
feel, he made her feel like a queen. It was a African centric church kind of. So she wearing a
Hmm.
little, she felt good and she looked good. You know, she was going,
Wow.
my mom, you know, battled with MS, you know, for a while, whatever, just with different stuff. And so it just like, it's just so sad that that had to happen. And I know that devastated the whole
Right.
household.
The whole household. But with predators too, they learn how to be two people
Mm-hmm.
because he was still a monster,
Yep.
but then he's this good guy. So they learn how to do that. They learn how to lead double lives, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's like they're perfect actors. They know what to say, how to say it, all this stuff. And then when they get in their beast mode, as you said, they're animals. But so you look at them like, how in the world can this is a great guy be a monster?
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know if people have watched The Masked Singer.
Yes, I have. I've
And
watched
so
one
like
episode.
these masked
Mhm.
singers, some of the characters are, even if they're ugly, they're kind of, you know, creative or whatever, but they're
They're
monsters, they're
monsters. Hmm.
aliens. And then they're trying to convince us that there's somebody else by giving all what they have with something we don't see. And then after a while, we don't even see the monster anymore. All we see is this
His
beautiful
beautiful
voice. So
voice.
we're picturing things in our head like, oh, that's got to be a beautiful woman. Oh, she a
Mm-hmm.
black queen singer. She got to be a black woman. Or we don't
Mm-hmm.
even see the fact that this thing got one eye,
Yep.
got a
The
crooked tooth,
strings hanging out of
got
his
a knife in
head.
his hand, got a whip in the other hand. We don't even see it. And then we
Right.
start playing with the toys that they got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's just like that's almost the concept of that. To be just so much greatness into something, into a shell of, so that affect me in a, it messes with my sensories to this day.
Right.
I do not like being touched out like that. It bothers me. It makes my stomach hurt
Right.
sometimes. And my family know, my mom would be like, how you don't like touching and you have 4 children?
Because they don't,
It's like, that's
it's
a different touch.
that's a different yes, it's a
Yeah.
different touch. It's
And
a
so it's
different
just
touch
like, yeah.
because it's that it's different touches. If I'm
Yeah.
touching you in a pure way, my touch is different from when I'm touching you in a non-pure way, or if I'm being inappropriate. It's a totally different touch.
Mm-hmm.
I've had ministers hug me, and I felt dirty
Mm-hmm.
at a hug, dirty,
Mm-hmm.
felt filthy because of the way they did it.
Yeah.
Pressed themselves up against me,
Yeah.
let their hand roll down a little bit further than it.
Yeah,
It,
it changes, and I think people who experience a lot of sexual trauma in their life, from
mhm,
any point of view, even if it's not pastors or however,
mhm.
it even changes the taste in your mouth.
Yes,
And it doesn't even have to be somebody who is trying to hurt you. Sometimes just me, I don't even want to hug. I just
it
don't want
reminds you.
to be touched.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be touched because I still got that, even though I feel like I have healed from it and I can talk about it, I have no emotional connection to it, but it's
Hmm.
still mine because it happened.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's still them. It just be like, ugh. And I don't know if I feel like I'm healed, but I don't feel like because I feel that way that I'm not healed. I don't know. It's still a problem to this day because of what he did. Not
Right.
even when it happened before from a stranger when I was raped before, but from because of what he did.
Right.
It changed my whole
Right. Because he was,
outlook of what
yeah,
a man
a
is.
man. Right. Because that was your first time you saw somebody treat your mom nice,
Mm-hmm.
be real, be caring, take care of her, take care of y'all. And then he turned into this.
Yeah. And then my siblings didn't really like him. So they gave him a hard time. He had a hard time. And I felt so bad. Like they was just so, a hard time.
Maybe
And
they saw something.
maybe they did. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
or not. I just know that I loved him. I loved him. I
Wow.
loved him. And like I said, I hate that he died. He died of either brain cancer or brain tumor.
Wow.
So I know that he died a painful death, because that's a painful experience within your mind. Your mind's all scribbled.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah. With
that
cancer.
that
Hmm.
bothered me, that he died or just can't I just want to know, what did he think about before he reacted? What was the thought? Was it a hesitation? Was
Right.
it whatever? Or like I said, I wasn't I think I was 19.
Mm.
That's the only thing I could just remember, but I know that I had my third child,
Okay.
or it's before my third child. One of the, I think I just, my timeline gets messed up sometimes,
Right.
but I was like, I was an adult, but I was still not.
No, at 19, you're adult in numbers because
That's why I said legally,
yeah, legally but you still got a
but
lot of growing to do
yeah,
at 19. You don't even know what you want to be in life.
I just grew up last year.
I think I think I'm still growing up.
I know. I'll be still thinking like, I need
Right.
mama for that. I don't know what to do.
Listen, girl, they ain't get several calls, okay, a
Yeah,
week, and I'm 47.
I
Yeah,
know.
let me call my mama and run it by her. I don't
She
think
has,
that, yeah, I don't
mhm,
think that's ever gonna go
yeah.
away. Um, wow. Thank you for sharing though. I
Oh, no
appreciate
problem.
previously you made reference to this particular attack not being the first attack, not being your first sexual abuse. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened to you before that instance?
Yes, like I said, I
And
do
if you
some.
can remember what age you were.
And see, that's my thing with stuff. And like I said, I still see a psychiatrist. I
Mhm.
still, go through
That's good.
my healing and
That's good.
process of talk because I do get things dates merge.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just like during that time with him, my age, because I know that that I was with someone. So I can't remember, but I know before that. So it's between the age of I had my first daughter when I was 16, and so between like 18 and 21 is when them things that I was raped within the year of that. So I was raped, which was another thing. And then when I woke up, I didn't even know I was. So I woke up naked in garbage, So I didn't even know, anything. But then, because you know what your body feels like,
Right, right, of course.
And so, so that was a thing. And then, yeah, so during that time, so just uh, my mind was, spaghetti sauce.
Okay, for that incident. But was
Yeah,
it
but
anything
within that
before that?
it was
Within that?
for that. So what it happened, the one that happened before happened, prior to that. So I don't even with my timeline, I can't remember when. If I was younger, I can't remember. Like kids, did I have a kid? So I know I had my oldest daughter.
Okay.
So between that time and then that happened, and so I think it was years apart.
Okay.
Years
So
apart.
those was the only two instances?
No, I was like I said, I've had been sexually abused at a younger age, from what I can remember, 6 or 7, maybe 5. Uh, it started, my first one I think was a babysitter, but before it, almost to me it seems like something was happening like every two years I was getting
Really?
sexually abused, throughout my life, growing up. So
And that's because the devil was trying to come at you because he knew what you was
I
gonna
take my
be.
body. He was trying to destroy me from the
He was
inside.
trying to destroy you inside out. Absolutely. But he knew he knew today was gonna be happening, you
Well,
know.
you know,
And he knew you were gonna be you're gonna be an intricate part of people healing. So he had to take us out. That's the same way with some of my experiences. I know now that, he was trying, he knew, he might not have knew specifics of what, but he knew I'm going to be great in God's kingdom, and that I was going to step on his head.
mm-hmm.
So he was out to get me early on. And that's what it was. He was out to get you, you know.
Yeah.
He was
And
out
I
to
mean,
get you.
oftentimes the devil is not always underneath our feet.
Right,
Sometimes he's right in front of our face, so we can't always step on him.
right, right,
Sometimes he's above our head, and so we got to fight to even get to reach him to fight him.
right,
You
right.
know what I mean? But that's when we just start identifying what the devil is and how he moves. He's not always under our feet, and that's some way that we was raised, that he's always under our feet. Okay,
Oh, right, right.
all
He's sitting
right.
next to you.
You keep
He,
thinking he's walking under you, and then he bumping right into you in your face, saying, "Hi, I'm
right,
the devil," and you're like, "No, but he's under my feet." Okay,
right,
get beat down, keep playing.
right. Yeah. He sitting next to you. He around.
or he looking at you when you look in the mirror. However, you know what I mean. The devil is
Right.
inside some of these people, looking us
Yeah.
dead in the face,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
you just don't know it. So yeah,
So
so it's been kind of hectic with different um uh with trauma with sexual stuff. So
was it at church? Was it during church?
while I was in, no, I have never been sexually abused inside church.
Inside the church?
No.
Was it by someone at the church? Like one of the members?
Well, members is our family, and members are people who we are in relationship with. So I guess, yeah. I mean, because that's who my mom surrounded us by church people.
Yeah, that's all I know. I couldn't really hang around with
Some, so I, experienced from that, from the spiritual and the worldly. So just my worlds crossed all the time. There was no worldly people, spiritual people. Y'all all everybody worldly, and we just had to move spiritually. But it is so it
Right.
just from both sides. It's a circle. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So those are some of the experiences. Now,